And we are live. I forgot to put the splash screen up first, though.
Oh.
But yeah, we are recording.
Okay.
And welcome to Tech Talks 7. Technically, this is 8, but we are essentially re-recording 7 because there was some information that I was not, I didn't know much about, so I had to look it up and get more accurate information. I'm not going to be 100% perfect on anything, but I at least should give a little like more accurate than what I had last week. So,
Well, it was a tough topic.
yeah.
All right, so we'll start out easier. With the Pixel 3 camera on my phone, I've noticed recently that it seems slow. I'll take a picture and then turn the phone, say, to try to get a picture at a different angle, and it's still processing the picture I took a few seconds ago. Recommendations around that you...
So there are a couple things that you could try to fix that. So Google, the Pixel 3 has been kind of under fire because of this camera problem, and Google hasn't exactly said why this is a much slower camera. I have a couple theories. So right now, Google has been trying to fix it with software updates.
Mm-hmm.
And so they think that a lot of this might be a software problem instead of a hardware problem. Meaning and it's true that like the new camera app has a lot more to it, especially when it rolled out. The Pixel 3 rolled out with that feature where you take a picture, but then it has like pictures before and after, right? So that you can kind of show. And so there's like, they've added more features, and it doesn't seem that they've necessarily optimized the app as much.
Was that called motion enabled? Or like if
that
it's
was,
on
there was the motion one was even in the Pixel 3, or not the motion one, but like when you take a picture and then it has like a little video of that picture. But then they also have best picture kind of feature where when you take a picture, it'll actually take a series of pictures before and after you click the shutter. And then you can pick which one is the best one.
So if it's doing ones before you've hit the shutter, then too, it's also constantly having a short memory prior to whenever you might click the button.
Yeah, essentially, like it seems like there's a buffer there. That's as I remember it. And so there's more software to it. On top of that, you have a higher resolution camera with a marginal increase in specs for the camera, which I think all kind of combine for this slowness. Google has been trying to optimize it with software updates. The other thing you can do is there are other camera apps in existence. So if you wanted to try another camera app, you could try them out.
That's interesting. I didn't know that you could use a different camera app with the hardware. That's
Some of them are not as good as others. For instance, I don't know if this is still true, but a few years back they found out that Instagram, when they were updating their app, was heavily favoring iPhone in their updates, to the point where when Instagram Instagram has phone integration where it would open up the phone, like the camera, and you could do it on an iPhone. It would get direct phone access. On the Android, it actually just used your phone app and then took a screenshot of your phone app, essentially.
When you say your phone app, you mean your camera app?
Yeah, your camera app. Sorry. So it would just essentially open up your camera app to get and then screenshot your camera app instead of getting the raw footage from the screen. This was, I think, MKBHD pointed that out a couple years back.
Wow.
And so there was like this huge difference in quality between an Android picture on Instagram and
an iPhone that has the raw higher.
It has it can get the feed directly from the app. So you can try to circumvent that with another app, but ultimately Pixel, it does seem like Google is trying to fix it in the long run.
All right. And so another thing that came up within the past 2 weeks was there was that article about Facebook, if you're just signing up for a Facebook account, they're asking people for the password to their email so they can just. But I guess the root of this all is, so in the past I've heard that Facebook, they take the rights to your pictures or something when you post onto their website, and it's like in the user agreement or something that way. So my question is kind of around Facebook user agreement in general. What's going on there?
So there's two parts to that question. You have the passwords question and the photos question. As for the passwords, you guess there's been a report of people getting asked by Facebook to give their email passwords in order to authenticate their Facebook account when they're signing up. Don't do this. Like, I mean, like, sure, Facebook is a legitimate company and they can have whatever like privacy and things like that, but ultimately there's no reason to give up your password. It's like the verification step of just going to your email and verifying that it's your email is not a tedious process, especially since it only has to be done once. So there's no reason for you to have to, or for Facebook to have your password for that one instance. And with that, like, often people have multiple different accounts associated with their email. And, you know, again,
you mean accounts for everything, not other email accounts, like
other
bank
accounts,
account, anything is accessible.
Bank account, Instagram, Twitter, you name it.
I mean, you can even get the passwords for those reset if you have access to the email's password. So, yeah, that was a sketchy thing.
It's very, and like probably Facebook would never do anything about it. Didn't they say
they weren't storing it and stuff?
They said they said that I'm not exactly sure, but there's no reason. Like just don't ever give out your email password or like they do actually have a verification system that is set up between social media accounts. A lot of different social media types.
Sign in with Google.
Yeah, you can sign in with the accounts without actually giving them password. This is actually something that has already been accomplished, and could just as easily be. You could just sign in with Facebook with your Google. I don't know if Facebook specifically has that feature when it comes to signing in. Because when I was signing up for Facebook, it was before like they had that kind of integration. But yeah, so like just in general, don't give away passwords. Don't cross your passwords between other accounts, no matter what they say they need it for.
Okay, so then the other part is the whole Facebook.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time a big company has done sketchy things or.
Yeah, so Facebook with the pictures. So, and there's funny because after we talked about this yesterday, I ended up looking it up and remembering somebody actually did post this on one of my friends on Facebook. I only have 50 friends on Facebook. So, and I'd like to think that they're reasonably intelligent people. But even they got sucked into this trap of posting like this little legalese blurb on their wall stating that they don't have rights to your pictures and things like that. That legalese verb does zero, right? And John Oliver actually even had a topic on that. It does zero. Facebook does, in its terms of service, Facebook does have a clause that technically they can use whatever photo that you upload to Facebook for whatever they want. Essentially, it does not give them the copyrighted permissions for it. But as long as they have the photo on their site, they can kind of do whatever they want according to their terms of service. And then you get into the legalize of whether the terms of service is actually a binding contract. And by definition, yes, it is a binding contract. However, there's been numerous occasions where these terms of services don't actually hold up in court because of certain aspects of them. Specifically, one major one that tends to be the hole in it was oftentimes these agreements have this clause that say that we can update this at any time without informing you. However, legally, you can't actually, from what I've read, you can't actually agree to something that you don't know about yet.
Right.
So whenever these terms of service up, and you'll see this more often now, is that they will actually pop up like terms of services, and you have to accept. You have to form some sort of acknowledgement that this happened. So people that have tried to get around it have tried to send emails saying that you got sent an email, but that doesn't include any kind of confirmation that you've read it. So like there's been people trying to get around it, but ultimately like if you can't agree to something that hasn't been that you don't know about yet. And so especially that portion in the terms and agreement doesn't fly in an actual court.
Well, most often now, it seems whether it's for a game or if it's for an app, a website, it's now when you first log in, they immediately send you a pop-up, and to proceed and actually use the services at all, you now have to either check a box, click I accept, or open a document, scroll through it, and then just click next. It seems now that they've at least gotten to the point of making you acknowledge.
You have to acknowledge. So there's been plenty of times, I think Star Citizen was one of the more current ones, where they decided after a certain amount of time, since people started refunding. If you don't know, Star Citizen is a video game that is in development, supposedly.
Oh, this one.
This is the what is it? That it has the most crowdfunded video game, or the most money crowdfunded for a video game in existence. It was supposed to come out, I think, years ago, at least a certain portion of it, and it has not. And at the by that date that they were supposed to have released this, they actually changed their terms of service, saying that they can't. People that kickstarted it can't ask for a refund. People have been able to fight that. Not everybody, but some people have, and specifically because some people they required you to agree to their terms of service, like when you log in. But there's been people that just actually haven't played the game at all since they kickstarted it, and they never agreed to these terms. So there's been that's the one I can think of in the recent past that has undergone this kind of thing. But again, then when you try to fight this kind of stuff, you are one person trying to fight a mega company. Most of the time, that doesn't work out in your favor. So you are generally bound to whatever restrictions the terms of service do say.
Yeah. It is what it is, I guess.
I mean, if you're using these, you do have to think of it as the website isn't a free form. I know this is a topic of debate, especially in California, but a website isn't a free form for everybody to show off their free speech. It's these websites are essentially private property of these companies.
They're ultimately owned.
Yeah, it's ultimately owned by a company, and it is up to them to decide how. If you decide to walk in the door, you are agreeing to whatever they want you, whatever they will accept to let you in. And that's just how the cookie crumbles.
All right. So then the next question is around data usage. So when you're downloading temporary content, something like a Netflix video or a movie that you're planning to watch when you don't have internet, but then you're planning to delete it and not keep it on your phone. I'm kind of curious how storing those things, how it works, how it affects your device long term, if it is a little laser or whatever etching on your hard drive. I don't know.
So this goes back to, well, that last part goes back to the solid state drive versus hard drive that we had before. Our phones don't have a hard drive in them.
And hard drives are the ones that etch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're the ones that have like essentially little record players inside of them. Your device would not be able to fit that kind of device inside of it.
And it wouldn't survive all the drops then.
No, definitely. And so these are solid state drives essentially that are built in. These are flash memory drives. And the amount of data that it would take for a solid state drive to get filled up by erasing and
the crumbles left after you've
swept
the cookie away.
Yeah, it's negligible. So if you are downloading from a video from like Netflix to watch, or music that you're downloading, or a YouTube video, even now that you can do a YouTube video downloaded, I mean, if you're downloading from Wi-Fi, then and you're planning to watch it when you don't have any internet connection, or you only have your mobile data, then by far it's better to just download it ahead of time, because that way you're not using up your mobile data. Now, as for if you decided to download versus stream while on mobile data, I don't actually have the numbers for that. I would assume, based off of just logic, that it would actually be the same amount of data that you're downloading. Just streaming does it instantaneously while you're playing it, while downloading it would just download it first, then you play it.
Makes sense. I mean,
and then also, if you have it downloaded, you could replay it without having to restream it.
Oh, because if you're streaming it, it might not remember it.
Yeah, it might not have it. Yeah,
it's
in storage.
That makes sense. I think that, I mean, unless there were any other disadvantages or advantages around that.
Essentially, yeah, it's if you can download beforehand, then like if you can anticipate beforehand, then go for it. Like, there's no reason not to. But if you like are just on the road and you decided you want to listen to your song and you're streaming it from your data, like, that's just up to you and your data plan and how much data you have and how much you're willing to spend on it. Like, for us, it's pretty negligible because we pay for gig of data at a time anyways. So if we use that gig of data, then we pay for it, and then if we don't use it, then it just rolls over to the next month anyways. So, and we don't really go over a gig of data anyways.
All right. Well, that is what I've got for today. So, that'll do it, I guess.
All right. That's it.
All right.
Thanks everybody for watching, and this is a bit of a shorter one today, but we'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll have some more for you then. Have a great one.